All right, to weigh in on this, we now speak to law expert Mpumelelo Zikalala. Thank you so much for your time, Mpumelelo. Just help us make sense of this latest delay. Let's start with the two applications by Advocate Sean Abrams. I'm particularly interested in him wanting, in the one application, the former ANC Limpopo Treasury General Denim Caesar and former ANC Youth League Limpopo leader Kabelo Matsepe to be tried separately. What does that entail?
It basically means that you are now going to separate the number of accused that are here and only exclude those that have made for that particular application. That is usually done in instances where you would see that maybe one of the accused wants to plead, or that it's going to be for the benefit of the particular of the matter, to say, let's separate this particular trial. It may emanate from the same evidence, same witnesses are going to be called, the same cause of action is the same. However, we want to make sure that we separate these two so that we're able to get this matter done and dusted. It is a drastic decision, usually done on a case-by-case basis, if it's going to be in the interest of justice and, of course, that of the accused if the matter is separated. But in a matter such as these ones, I do not think that there are any merits in the separation of these accused, so that the two go on their own and the rest of the 10 or of the 12 remain as a single matter.
All right, I'm glad you clarified that, because on the onset of that, it looked like, he wanted them to be tried separately, as in not represent both of them. But having said that, the application we're hearing, particularly on that matter, will now be argued on the 14th of August. What does this then mean, for the pre-trial conference? To what extent then will this bring back even further this pre-trial? All right, we seem to have lost Mpumelelo there, of course, discussing this VBS bank. Mpumelelo, can you hear me? Are you still there with us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right, let me repeat my question, Mpumelelo. So, of course, this application, particularly in terms of the separation of the two, will now be heard on the 14th of August. What does that then mean, particularly when you look at the fact that the pre-trial conference or hearing still needs to happen?
That means that the pre-trial cannot happen. If the pre-trial can't happen, that means the trial cannot begin. So we never was going to take a bit longer before we see a first witness going into the witness stand, who's probably going to give a bit of credence and a bit of context to what happened within the VBS. Obviously, there's delayed justice on behalf of the victims. There are people that are waiting to see what happened to the hard-earned savings that they invested in VBS. So up until these preliminaries have been done and dusted, it basically means that the trial cannot start. And once the pre-trial conference has been done and dusted, it has been agreed to that we are all ready to go to trial. Only then you would see the trial being able to start, which I think why the court came to the conclusion of saying that we're not going to give you a long postponement when it comes to this. Let's give you a few weeks to get your act together, come to court and be able to argue, and probably the court is going to do the same with this ruling. It's not going to waste any time and be able to decide this matter, so that at least by the end of this year or before the end of this year, we see the trial actually starting, or early next year dates can then be allocated.
I'm going to try and ask this last question, given that, our line is not so great, Mpumelelo. Just on the outside of that particular case, will we ever see all those that have been in one way or another named or implicated? The former VBS Mutual Bank chairperson, Chifiwa Matoti's leaked affidavit, for instance, will we ever see those be brought to book that have been named? I'm asking this question because AfriForum has now officially, we saw over the weekend, laid criminal charges with the South African Police Service against the EFF's leaders Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu after they were named also in this 77-page affidavit.
I think sooner or later we will see justice taking place. It's just that the wheels of justice in this case are grinding very slowly. And the most worrying part is that whenever you have any matter, especially a criminal one, the quality and the quantity of the evidence that you've collected is of importance, because you as a state have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the individuals that you are dealing with or that you have accused are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll not be able to do that if witnesses are going to die or depart or go to other places. You'll not be able to do that if crucial information, documented, will not be found anymore. It decreases the chances of you being able to do that. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have members of the public wanting to know a simple question: what happened? Who is to blame? Can you still be able to recover all those funds that have been lost? Which I think it would be the crucial question which is going to be there. So all these endless delays which are taking place, they may be in the interest of justice, because at the end of the day, even the accused have got their Section 35 rights by the Constitution. However, it is an important balancing act that has to be done by the court to ensure that meanwhile I protect your rights as the accused, I also to think about the victims. But it must also take and focus on the law enforcement agencies in terms of the level of investigation, the speed in which they're investigating with, and the speed in which our courts are acting. Ask yourself this question: when was the VBS scandal discovered and investigate? When did they complete the investigation? What has been recovered thus far? That is the litmus test that must be utilized to see whether the rules of justice are grinding properly or not.
All right, Mpumelelo, thank you so much. Let's leave it there. It's a pity about that line. Of course, that was law expert Mpumelelo Zikalala just weighing in on this VBS matter.